Okay. No, I was going to say, isn't it the fact that Chelsea being fourth, just a reflection of what the title of the show was, that it's the worst EPL ever? Because the level of Chelsea, I mean, you've got Forest, Chelsea, City, Villa, Newcastle, even Fulham and Brighton all in that bracket. And none of them are like the good, I don't want to say the good teams, that sounds terrible, but the teams you expect to be up there, the Chelseas, the Cities, nobody's taken it by the scruff of the neck and sort of cementing it. Chelsea had a chance to sort of cement their place in the top four at the weekend, and they didn't. I think it's 8 games without a win away from home for Chelsea now. I just think that the season has just been so poor. Apart from Liverpool, every other team has just been so poor, and I think it's reflected in that where Chelsea is sitting.
You are spot on, and it has been a very poor Premier League season in the sense of, I think Arsenal once or twice have won 3 games on the bounce. That's it. Where if you look at last season, look at the runs of form they had. I think Chelsea City have won 4 on the bounce once very early on in the season, and outside since then it's been 2 games, maybe then a draw, but no more than 3 wins on the bounce on a regular basis. They're used to going on, a 6-game round, win streak, and a 7-game and a 10-game. Chelsea, they had that run of 5 wins in over November and December. They did win 3 on the bounce in September. Since then, no more than 2 on the bounce. Man United, we've been the worst of everybody this season. We have not won back-to-back Premier League games all season. We have underperformed worse than Chelsea, worse than Tottenham, worse than everybody in the Premier. We've been an abomination. And we have our reasons, and there's context to that. But put all that aside for this conversation, because we're talking about the competitiveness of the league and the quality. It's been low. So Tottenham massively underperformed, as we all know. Chelsea started well but fell off. United, dreadful. Arsenal have been worse than we all expected them to be. No one predicted City being this bad. So 5 of the traditional top 6 have massively underperformed based on all the predictions we made. Liverpool have overperformed based on most people's prediction. So Liverpool deserve massive credit. When you actually look at the league, I think you can even make a case for like Villa underperforming this year. They've only just gone into plus goal difference. I don't think they've been as good in the league as we all expected. Maybe you can throw in the European side. Newcastle, since sort of December till now, I think they've been phenomenal. But the first 3 or 4 months of this season, Newcastle were up and down to a point where a lot of their fans are calling for their manager to be sacked. I think your Bournemouths, your Brightons, your Fulhams, will I say they've been phenomenal this year? Well, I think they've been around the level that we've seen in the last 2 or 3. Bournemouth maybe a slightly higher one. But I do think overall, so many top sides have underperformed this season. It's been crazy. I think you bang on, Kate.
Do you not think... Sorry, I was just going to say, do you not think, even though Liverpool, I'm not taking anything away from Liverpool when I say this, but even though they've been the best team in the country, when you watch them, you don't look at them and think, wow, it's like watching Prime Man City. This is a team that's going to dominate for years. They're just the best because everyone else has been so crap.
Yeah. No, I hear it. They don't look scary, but they're efficient. I know what you mean. Like,
and I don't want to take that away from Liverpool, but it's just... Everyone,
I know it's hard to hear, Tom, but you're still winning.
I don't care. I'll happily wear it as a badge of honor that we won the worst Premier League ever. All of you not could have done it.
Your face didn't say that when we were saying
the part I disagree with is just that, yes, it's been a bad year, but I think for Liverpool, we went 26 games unbeaten in the league. Like everyone else hasn't went on a run, and we went on like the 8th longest unbeaten run in Premier League history this season, which kind of just gets sort of brushed under the carpet. I understand that teams haven't performed, but we
why
still
do you
done
think
our
it
bit.
Gets brushed under the carpet? Why do you think?
Because you all wish you were in my position.
You reckon that's
what
it
I'd
is?
never want to be a Liverpudlian, Tom. Sorry.
Wow. I expect that of Terry, not of you, Case.
No, I reckon Arsenal ruined the league, man. They ruined it this season, man.
Yeah, I mean,
they had more. If they pushed Liverpool away, it could have been more exciting in other areas as well.
You could have done.
I think we ruined it.
But without all the injuries, you were 9 points behind us.
Liverpool didn't even beat PSG. They're not even as good as PSG, and yet they're sitting comfortably at the top of the league. Something doesn't compute for me.
But that's because the Premier League is a glorified farmers league, and I know that you guys don't like to hear that. But the league is not as competitive as what it's made out to be. But because a lot of the clubs have so much financial freedom, it gets overhyped because a lot of teams can spend money. But just in terms of the Prem in general, it's not as good. That's why when people say it's the best league in the world, I think it's crazy.
There's an argument that La Liga
unlike
this
La
year,
Liga, which is super competitive.
yeah. La
Well, I
Liga
mean,
this year has been really good.
I mean, La Liga didn't have one team just win it 4 years straight, and then had an
I
off
never
year
said
like
you.
this.
I never.
Liverpool
I bigged you
dominated.
up.
Huh?
Bigged you up. I was bigging you up. I wasn't this.
Oh, okay. And I didn't. No, they didn't sound like it, bro.
I think it swings and roundabouts. The Premier League claim that it's the best league is. I know some people put this down to marketing, but at the end of the day, Disney just spent about £300 million marketing a movie that no fucker's watching. So you can't market a piece of shit and then have people continue to watch it. I think bad albums from artists prove that when there's hundreds of millions spent on them. Bad movies are examples of that. The Premier League, by and large, has been, and I think this is what the issue is this season. I'm not going to get into a debate with anybody over subjectively which league you think is best, that you find the most entertaining, or the brands of football that you think are best, because that's just like arguing what's better, rap or sometimes
Jazz.
it's like jazz or opera. You know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder on that. What I base the Premier League typically being the best on is that we just have a much bigger audience. And I think that's because over the period of time, just over a long period of time, so a 10-year period, I just find that people have found our league, and it isn't just the title race. It's the title race, the top four race, the rivalries, the relegation battles. I think people have found the league in its entirety compelling to watch and interesting. Now, that's when I think of it as being better. That's what stands out to me. And that's because, and don't forget the English saying it, because we're going to be biased, same as the French and the Germans, or we'll be biased about our own country. I'm just saying, why does...
But you can't take the English out of it. That's why the Premier League is considered the biggest, because of English bias. Like,
well, no,
like,
but it's not. Again, but you didn't let me finish my point. My point is this: that English people having bias doesn't make tens of millions of people in.
No, that's not.
But please, if you let me finish my point, you'll understand what I mean. I think we're talking across each other here. English fans having bias and saying it's the best doesn't make loads of people in Hong Kong, loads of people in Beijing, loads of people in Sydney. It doesn't make us the most viewed league internationally. That, for me, I don't even think people in those countries see what the fuck we say, if I'm being honest with you, especially if you're on Twitter and you don't speak English or it's not your first language. I don't know. I'm just saying, I don't think some English bias plays a part in that. So I'm just pointing out, for me, when I say the Premier League's the best, I'm purely basing it on its viewing figures and its audience as an example. I am totally open, because I don't have a dog in the fight. Someone thinks La Liga is more compelling, the football's better, someone thinks Ligue 1's better. I'm not going to debate them over it, because it's a preference.
So I reckon the Premier, football wise, I'm not going to come out and say the Premier League plays the best football, but the whole package of the Premier League is the best. Everything, like the whole, it's like the story, the drama, the everything. I don't think it's based on just the football that what makes it the best. It's the whole package, how they market the league, the players, the way they get involved. It's the everything, to be honest. If it's just based on football,
that's the whole point. That's what I think is missing this season. It's just there hasn't been, and when we actually have had some games where there's been some drama, and there's a side, and I think the side story is an important part. Let's not pretend. Look, La Liga's amazing. I'll never slag it off. It's amazing. Let's not pretend when we had Pete Jose versus Pete Pep, part of what compelled us in those seasons was those two going head to head as an example. Obviously, there was the Messi and Ronaldo debates and arguments as an example. You had a few years back where you had Barca winning the majority of the leagues, Real Madrid dominating Europe. The conversation around it was every bit as compelling as the football in itself. And that is phenomenal. The Premier League, the only time we've had anything, by the way, not close to that was the peak level of La Liga, was when Arsenal and City were going at it. And what did our stupid pundits do? Played it down. Don't do that. Bad behavior. No, let's have a bit. Let's poke a few eyes. Let's slag off a few mums in the crowd. Let's have a little bit of needle in these games. Right? I'm being a bit like facetious with that, but we need a little bit. We need a little bit more of it. And I also think social media has played a part this year. We have created a very toxic culture online. We are all accountable, including me, when it comes to football. And I said a comment and it made everyone on the panel laugh, and it made me realize I was right. I'm really excited about Man United summer and next season. And it was, why? And I've realized that nobody cares about the journey. We're creating this notion of, well, unless the goal leads to a win and the win leads to a trophy, I'm not even going to be that happy. I've seen Liverpool fans for 2 months barely look happy on camera. You're about to win the Prem. They're not that bothered. And there's this weird thing of, but you're going to win, but it ain't a treble though, is it? I was expecting we've created this weird environment online where if the win doesn't lead to a massive honor or a historical victory and achievement, well, it doesn't really mean nothing, does it? It's weird. We have lost something in our game, the online fans, that is. So I think there is this lack of infused. The league hasn't been great, granted. There hasn't been the needle and the drama, granted. But even as fans, everybody just feels a bit, oh, we won, yay.
I think people are scared to express how they want to feel on camera because they're like, oh, what does social media say we should feel like as fans? They're more focused on that than how they actually feel.
No, I agree. I agree with you. And I just feel that if you're going to say things, if you're going to not give a true, honest opinion of how you feel on camera, don't give one. Just enjoy the football and enjoy people that do. And, Henry, you should. I look at United, for example. I have no guarantees any of us are going to make us the best team in the world. I don't know if Ruben Amorim's good enough to get us over the line. But I just made, over the course of this weekend, I thought about this really deeply. I'm just going to enjoy what might come. I'm going to enjoy a good performance here and there and a win there. And I'll criticize things that go wrong. But I think I'm over what I see some Man United fans do at the minute. Basically this. I'm going to stay angry every day, every stream, until my team does what I want it to do. My advice actually is stop watching football, mate. I'm 40 years old. My hair transplant will fall out. I'll go grey at least, or I'll get a fucking heart attack. And when I think about it logically, football, the only time fans were like that on a regular basis ever in my lifetime growing up was if their club was in financial difficulties and could be going out of business. Nobody was ever that angry all the time because their club wasn't Real Madrid. And the irony is, there's a reason you fell in love with football in the first place. And it wasn't generally because of trophies, unless you will when you picked Real Madrid. But even you wouldn't pick Real Madrid because of, as a joke, you only picked Real Madrid because of your love for James Rodriguez. So if he'd have joined Porto, you might have become a Porto fan.
Lucky bastard.
And but I just sort of feel a little bit.
He was the best player in the world.
Imagine if he joined.
I thought he was the best in the world.
Or if he joined United, where they are right now.
Can you imagine? But I'm just going to finish off by saying this. I'm not saying, because again, what I'm saying will get taken out of context. Of course, criticize when your team plays badly. It's fine to say a manager ain't good enough. It's okay to call out your owners. I will still do those things. But we have created this notion, and I like, Nottingham Forest has been a standout for me in this. Everybody's going, oh my God, look what they're doing. I want my team to go from being in a relegation battle to being in the top four. But you're ignoring the 8 years it took to build to get them to this stage. And they made some mistakes along the way, hiring the wrong manager here, or maybe a bad signing. But there has been I'm going to use the words that really trigger people. There has been a process. There has been phases. Villa are the same. There has been to get them to where they are. No one just goes from being shit to doing what they're doing like this. It doesn't happen. And I just feel as fans, if we create this narrative that's very new, that's been spawned out of social media, that I'm only going to be happy when we're at or near the pinnacle, you are probably going to find the next 60, 70, 80 years of your footballing life very painful, because there's only really 3 or 4 clubs that for that amount of times have stayed up near the top across the whole of European football. Real Madrid, to probably throw Barca in there, Bayern Munich. How many teams actually stay up near the top? Equally, you could fall in love with a team. Maybe that league loses its money. Because once upon a time, the Eredivisie was amazing. So if you lose that money and suddenly no longer can you financially compete with the European players, so you can't ever become champions of Europe again, what, you're just going to go, well, the standards are too low now. I'm just going to be miserable forever. I just think we've become a little bit warped, a little bit polarized, and a little bit extreme with it. And I think you couple that all in, I think that's one of the reasons why this season feels a little bit boring to a lot of people. We've set standards that are almost impossible to achieve for 95% of teams, and I'm not going to be happy until I achieve them. Bruv, it's crazy.
But
social media's meant you can't enjoy the journey of football season anymore. It's a football season. If all that mattered was just the numbers on a table at the end of the season, there's no point in doing the 9 months beforehand to figure that out. There's no point in getting engaged in the 9 months. Just turn up on the last day of the season, have a look at the table, go, oh, I should be happy, or oh, I should be sad, and then move on. The journey of football is why we all love it. You remember the moments, because one of the stupidest things that happens, if your team is in a title race, for example, or your team is in a cup run and you lose in the semi-final, or you lose in the final, you're not allowed to remember anything positive about it. Or if you finish second, you're not allowed to remember anything positive about that season. You're not allowed to have good memories. You finish second. That's that. Try hard the next time.
Tom, the issue is not enough people that create content have enough backbone to stand by what they believe in it. Like, nobody can make me feel bad about going crazy at my team scoring a last-minute winner. No one can say, "Oh, you're over-celebrating." I'll be like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Like, no one can make me feel bad about that.
And that's a great point. All the over-celebrating nonsense that keeps being called out again. These things, I think, these things have helped to kill a big and important part of our game. And I took the kids out this afternoon. We went on this Winnie the Pooh trail where you go through the forest and these Winnie the Pooh things. They loved it. And I just thought about football from the kids are really excited. I was quite excited to go with them. I was going with my brother, my nieces, nephews. It was good fun. And I'm driving there and I'm like, imagine you treated every car journey like certain football fans treat football. It would mean the whole time I'm in the car, I'm fuming and screaming and angry until I arrive on where I'm going. It was like, no, we took the roof off the car. It was a sunny day. We enjoyed the scenery. We drove through the countryside. We enjoyed that as much as we did getting there. And this is the thing, it's polarization. I'm not saying, because what you'll get is, what you're saying, I shouldn't hold my club accountable if they go through a bad period. You're saying I shouldn't say a manager should be sacked if he isn't good enough for us. No, you can have those conversations. But if that same manager you want out does brilliantly the next game, you win 3-0 and play well, enjoy that day.
But it is a bit performative on both ends, though, Terry. Like, with the people that over-celebrate, let's not act like if you're not on camera with, like, I don't know, like 30 people watching, you probably wouldn't have celebrated like that, or you wouldn't be as negative if you weren't on camera. I think that there is a bit of, like, overindulgence on both parts, right? Because, like,
that's true.
Because, we all make content here, right? And if you do, like, watch-alongs, for example, the way that you might react because it's 200 people in your stream, it's probably going to be a little bit more played up than how it would be if you were just on your couch watching the game.
Do you know what's interesting though, Will? But I that's what I see that when I look at some of the originators in this space who have been behaving the same way before anyone knew what the word viral meant, and they're still making content the same way. I see other people that come out of nowhere, and it's very similar to other YouTubers that I like watching. You know, it's like some people think my laugh is fake. I mean, you guys have backs, unless I'm like one of those old-fashioned like magicians that stays in character 24/7. You've all seen me backstage. I laugh the same backstage. Some of you have met me in person. I laugh the same in person. Tom lived with me for 2.5 weeks. I'm the same person on camera as I am off. A lot of people are not, Will. And I do get that. Some people will perform. And there are some people that will be over-positive. And when there is a problem, won't call it out. And I think they're a bigger problem. The TPFs, I coin the phrase, the toxic positivity fans. They're every bit as bad. It's about people not being authentic and about people not being honest about football. And the reason why I call it out is that's just never how it was until the last 3 or 4 years of the social media era. Nobody, it didn't matter who they were. I had friends who'd pay hundreds of pounds to go to a game. Team would get battered. You'd see them Monday morning at work. They weren't fuming like somebody is on the stream 5 days later. Oh, I still like calm down. What are you talking about? No one ever stayed that angry for that long, ever. No one. No one.